Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2 is a cinematic triumph. This movie, similar to other recent ones like Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun: Maverick, Godzilla Minus One, Megan, are just those kind of movies that are meant to be seen and experienced on the silver screen. And they're the kind of movies that proudly put on display the full potential of what movies as an art form can do. They're the kind of movies that blend together craft techniques like editing, direction, cinematography, sound design, set design, costume design, choreography, the whole damn enchilada with ease. But as amazing as Dune Part 2 is, I still couldn't help but feel like it was kind of disappointing in certain aspects. Before we go into that though, spoiler warning, but hey, if you haven't seen Dune Part 2, here's a little spoiler review real quick. It's good. Go watch it. If you haven't seen the first one, watch that one and then watch Part 2. Everyone that I've talked to that has finally taken the leap of faith into potentially wasting 6 hours of their life watching these two movies have only been pleased. And you'll probably like them too. Just give them a try. Dune Part 1 is a little slow, I'll concede to that. I'll even say this, when I first saw Dune back in theaters like in 2021 or whenever it came out, I really wasn't a huge fan of it either. I thought it was boring, honestly, and thought it was overly long, but after rewatching it recently and embracing it and just letting it wash over me, I found the experience to be so immersive. It was a great time, and it actually sparked my hype for the second movie only days before it came out. And look at me now, I'm now making a video about it. So regardless, the series is great, believe the hype. There's gonna be more of these movies, and you might as well just get on the hype train now while it's still early in the franchise. And that's gonna be it for spoiler-free stuff. So you've been warned, spoiler warning again. Oh, and just so we're clear, I haven't read anything from the Dune books, so everything I say here is solely based off the two most recent Dune movies. But anyway, as usual, let's start off with the negatives, the stuff that disappointed me, and the elements that really hold this movie back from being 10 out of 10 perfection. So I thought the movie's pacing felt a little bit inconsistent, and certain story elements happened too quickly for me. An example of this is the romance between Chani and Paul, which, by the way, I still can't get over the fact that this dude's name is Paul. Like, this is some crazy, complex, futuristic sci-fi universe, and the main character's name is just Paul. I don't know, it'll never not be lame to me, I'm sorry. Anyway though, yes, I did think Chani and Paul's relationship moved a little too fast for me. Like, for instance, the scene where Paul's mother is being forced to drink the worm's poison. Paul tries to talk to Chani and her friends, and she just tells him to fuck off and go away, then proceeds to argue with Stilgar about Paul being a fucking weirdo outsider. But then in the very next scene, she follows him into the desert to hang out, and then they just start flirting and making goo-goo eyes at one another. And maybe it's a case of just some teenage angst, you know, like fronting that you're not interested in somebody, but really you are. Sure, maybe it's that. And then you fast forward 20 minutes, and then they're just making out. Like, I don't know, the movie just kind of speed runs the relationship in about 40 or so minutes, which again, I get. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that's got to be covered, and you can't devote too much time to one thing or another, I get it. But the romance between them is a big part of the movie, and I couldn't help but feel like it was a little bit undercooked. Especially because it felt a bit wishy-washy. I mean, Paul and Chani will go from being cute and loving to bickering and fighting to then cute and loving again to then bicker and start fighting again. I couldn't help but be confused by their romance. I guess that's the point though. And on that point, let's stay on Chani for a little bit. I never fully understood why she didn't believe that Paul was the Lisan al-Gaib. I don't even know if I pronounced that correctly. Which, by the way, I'm just going to say Chosen One from now on, or Messiah. I'll just use them interchangeably because I am not saying Lisan al-Gaib every time. I can barely say it the one time. But yeah, like, why didn't she believe? I understood where she was coming from, though. I mean, up until a certain point. Like, once Paul basically died from the water of life and is awoken by her tears, the Desert Spring tears, I think that solidified everyone's belief in him finally being the Chosen One. Hell, it solidified my own belief in Paul. And all this was only further supported when Paul talks to all the Fremen in that council meeting, or whatever it was. That place, it looks like that one scene in Bug's Life. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, I can't be the only one who saw this shit and then immediately thought about Bug's Life. I mean, just look at them. They're like the same scene. Anyway, if they weren't convinced when Paul drank the poison and lived, they were definitely when he started reading people's minds in that council meeting. So Chani was seeing all this crazy shit that doesn't happen, and then just didn't believe that Paul was the Chosen One. I think this movie could have done a little bit of a better job at exploring why she didn't believe. I understood that she wanted the Fremen to lead and uplift themselves, not some outsider. I got that completely. I just didn't understand why she didn't believe in Paul like everyone else did. Even her friends that initially didn't believe in Paul eventually came around and started worshiping him too. I just never understood why Chani didn't compared to everybody else is all. And to circle back around to that scene from Bug's Life, this is definitely me nitpicking, but I wasn't a huge fan of Paul reading people's minds to show that he finally ascended into becoming the Chosen One, allegedly anyway, and how he finally opened up his mind. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a bitch, I mean I probably am, but seeing Paul just say a bunch of shit that we can't see as the audience was kind of lame. Like Paul goes on that tangent about this one Fremen guy's grandmother or something, and he's like, I know she had one eye, and then she died. And then everyone lost their shit. Like, I don't know, I thought the interaction in particular was like a little underwhelming to showcase Paul's new abilities. Maybe if he read that guy's mind and it had something to do with somebody within the scene, like somebody in the room or maybe somebody next to the Fremen guy, then it could have been cooler. You know, it's like, oh, how did he know about this thing between you and I don't know, something within the scene, like him just talking about someone that we don't know or will ever see on screen just doesn't do a lot for me. But then again, the speech that he gives afterwards is really great, so it's fine, I guess. Which then leads me to my next point. I thought the whole Water of Life stuff with Paul particularly could have been beefed up a little bit more. I heard all about how trippy and psychedelic the second Dune movie was going to be because of the worm juice and all the drinking of the poison and stuff like that. You know, I was told like, let's go do drugs in the desert and trip balls. Like that was going to be the synopsis of the next movie. That's what my professor said anyway. He was really hyping it up from the book. But then it just feels like the movie kind of glosses over it. I think if there was like a single scene that really shows how much of a change he went through, it would have made more sense for me. And I mean like physically, like that scene where his mom, Jessica, drinks the poison and it shows what it does to her mind and her body, like that blue liquid flowing through her, I thought was really great. Because as it stands, Paul just drinks the poison, dies, wakes up, and then can now see shit. And the way that they convey this change in Paul is by just him exposition dumping onto us. Like, we're told that the remaining Atreides are just part Harkonnen, and how there's a big war coming, and how he's basically pulling the Doctor Strange from Infinity War, like he can see all these futures, but there's, you know, one sliver of a way to win. I don't know. That being said, everything was there. I'm not saying I didn't understand. That's not what I'm saying. I just think the movie did more telling instead of showing when it came to the Water of Life stuff, and that it maybe felt a little bit rushed towards the end. But I guess that's the point, right? I mean, that's what the water does. I guess you can't really convey that much more on screen. I don't know. Even if that is part of the narrative, it is something that I wasn't really the biggest fan of myself personally. And speaking of rush, let's go back to this movie's pacing because I went off track a little bit there. Beyond Chani and Paul's romance feeling rushed and a little inconsistent here and there, I also thought like the first 40 or so minutes in general felt a little bit too fast, which is a strange critique to have that the pacing was really fast, I guess. But hear me out. I'm not entirely sure how much time passes in this movie. It could be days, weeks, months. I wouldn't really know. I mean, I'm sure Florence Pugh says it somewhere in her diary. I just can't really remember. But in the first 40 minutes or so, it felt to me like Paul was with the Fremen for months. It felt a bit weird to have such a big stretch of time condensed into just a couple of scenes. Part of me wonders like if some of the scenes of Dune Part 2 could have taken place in Dune Part 1. I mean, with how slow the first movie was and with how fast-paced the second movie was, I feel like stuff could have been moved and shifted around a little bit to better the flow of both films. Because the first movie already plays with time a little bit, right? I mean, the beginning of the movie has this long time jump of like a couple weeks, you know, before they actually landed on Arrakis, and then when they finally are on Arrakis, it isn't even super clear how long they're there for anyway. And maybe they did explain the passage of time in the first movie, but I rewatched it like 3 times, and then I just watched Dune 2 like twice, and I don't really know how much time really does pass. I know it all takes place in the same year, I just don't know beyond that. Same could be said for Dune Part 2, for instance. I mean, the movie's already being pretty flexible with time as well, so how come they felt the need to rush, or again, what I felt was rushed, through Paul's introduction into the Fremen society and Chani's relationship all in one movie? And even then, it's like really all in a matter of like 45 minutes or so, rather than just breaking some of that up into the first movie. I mean, maybe I'm just overthinking it, and again, I'm not completely shitting on the movie here. I'm not. I think Dune 2 is really good, and I think it's very effective. Most of the stuff that's there in the movie makes sense. I just wonder if it maybe could have been presented better between the two movies. Because, I mean, when I step back and I look at Dune 1 and Dune 2, I feel like so little happens in the first one comparatively to the second movie. And you know what? That's probably by design. Moving on, I thought Austin Butler as Feyd was surprisingly underused. I loved watching this character, and with how much of him was actually in the marketing for the movie, I was shocked to see how little he was actually in the movie. And even though he was barely in it, I mean, you could definitely feel his presence throughout it. I just wanted more of him is all. He's really only in a handful of scenes. I mean, he's introduced about halfway through the movie, And then after the Giedi Prime scene, he shows up like maybe 3 or 4 times, only for collect a few minutes up until his final fight with Paul, right? I mean, let's just string out his scenes for a second. It's those 30 minutes that we spend on the Harkonnen homeworld, right? Rabban kisses his feet, the scene where he kills that one Fremen lady, and then it's like him standing around awkwardly in silence in front of the Emperor, and then he fights Paul. He's really not in the movie that much. And I think that's a bummer because when he's on screen, he is chewing it up. He's awesome. And to close off the negative section of this video, my last couple points are pretty minor, but I guess still worth mentioning. So I thought the baby worm, first off, you know the baby worm scene, I thought the worm looked fake as shit and quite frankly goofy. As amazing as the entire movie looks, right? Set design, CGI, costumes, everything, the whole shebang. I was really shocked how fake the sandworm looked when it was a baby. For me, at least. I also thought it was kind of dumb and frankly kind of strange how the Harkonnens couldn't venture out into the south to find the rest of the Fremen because of this sandstorm that sat on the equator, right? But like, they have ships, right? Like, can't they just fly into space and then just circle the planet, fly over the storm, and then land? I mean, don't they come from space? Why couldn't they just go into orbit and fly over the storm? I'm very confused as to why they couldn't do that. And maybe that is intentional because the movie does a great job at showing that the Harkonnens are just fucking stupid as shit, right? But like, are they really that stupid, guys? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. And this very thing even baffles the Emperor when he asks the Baron about it. The Emperor's like, Baron, do you know anything about the Muad'Dib? And the Baron's like, no, I mean, he's just a random Fremen guy. I don't fucking know. Like, dude, in the last movie, the Baron was going on about how expensive it was to even kill the Atreides, right?
I have no idea how much it cost me to bring such a force to bear here. No, I only have one requirement. Income.
But if you're going to invest all this time, effort, and money and lives into this operation, you're not going to at least see it through and make sure the job is done? What? And then for the Baron to not even know who the Muad'Dib is? So he gave enough of a fuck to threaten Bautista's life and potentially have his own nephew Infade killed during the arena fight and have an entire great house slaughtered overnight, but he didn't care enough to make sure that the job was actually done or even have the potential investigation into the Fremen uprising? Huh? You could argue that's by design, again, and in character for the Baron and the Harkonnens, sure, to leave everything up to other people, but then that just makes him far less calculated and far less intimidating. And again, makes him look stupid. No, but like, let's really think about it. I mean, Dune Part 2 kind of made the Harkonnens seem like a bunch of dummies. They lost like every fight against the Fremen. The only time they ever quote-unquote won a fight, if you could even call it that, was when Fade bombed the shit out of the stronghold. And even then, the Baron was like genuinely shocked that Fade even started bombing the stronghold. He was like, artillery, good job, good old-fashioned artillery. Like, what? No one thought to do that shit? What the fuck were you guys doing the whole time? Beyond that, I thought the deaths of certain characters were pretty unceremonious, which is a common complaint that I've seen online as well, particularly with Rabban and the Baron. However, I was still satisfied how things played out, regardless of how unceremonious these deaths were. I mean, I get it. Gurney is an amazing fighter, so of course he's gonna make quick work of Rabban, right? He just fucking kills him instantly. Plus, he has a badass line afterwards. And the way that Paul kills the Baron was awesome. I loved that he didn't waste any time at all, and he was there for fucking business, and he settled the score the moment he could. I love seeing shit like that in movies. A protagonist that immediately takes action and wastes zero time. The most recent example of this that I can think of is the ending fight in Avatar: The Way of Water, when the bad guy, I don't remember his name, is talking shit to Jake, and then Jake immediately on sight, it's hands.
I'm coming for you. When I do, I'll kill your whole family. Let's get it done.
Like, that's awesome. No dilly-dallying, just straight business. Which then leads me into the positives. But this section isn't going to be as long because there's just not much to say that hasn't already been said about this movie. And that's not to say that there's just more negatives. There's definitely not. There's way more positives for this movie than there are negatives. Way more. It's great. You don't need to hear more of that from me. As for some of the performances, I did think Timothée Chalamet in this movie was phenomenal. I actually think this might be the best performance that he's ever given, at least in my opinion. And even though I thought his transition after drinking the poison was a little rushed, I still can't deny how fucking cool this movie made Paul seem. He was an awesome protagonist. I thought the rest of the cast was great too, and as I said, Austin Butler as Fade was great, even though I just wanted more of him. I thought Christopher Walken was just playing himself, and that's fine because he's awesome.
He hit it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass. 5 long years he wore this watch. Up his ass. He died of dysentery. Give me the watch. I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass.
Zendaya I thought gave a good performance too, and I'm really eager to see where they take her character moving forward. Same for Rebecca Ferguson's character as Lady Jessica. Very interested to see where these two go. The music this time around as well, I mean, is just amazing. It might even be better than I think it is better than the first movie, actually. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, both of these movies have amazing soundtracks, but this one is ridiculous. And this next thing is more of an observation. This is definitely not a negative, but I thought it was kind of funny and really goofy, frankly, how the Fremen just controlled the sandworms and rode them around like cars. A lot of the mysticism was kind of gone for me in this new movie surrounding the worms. Like, they were terrifying in the last movie, but in this movie, it just seemed like they were very easily controlled and used by the Fremen. Like, there's this scene where the Fremen are going to transport Lady Jessica to the south, and they're all just kind of standing around waiting for this sandworm to pull up like it's an Uber or something. None of them seem worried or concerned in the slightest that some behemoth is going to pull up on them. They're just super chill about it. They're just waiting. I don't know. It's like it's a bus stop. But really, that just makes the Fremen seem cooler and all the more capable, so that's fine. Again, not a negative. And lastly, I really appreciated the action in this movie. None of the action sequences went on for too long or overstayed their welcome at all. Normally, I'm sure we would have gotten much longer action sequences in a movie like this if it wasn't for Denis Villeneuve. But I thought the brief nature of the action scenes made them seem all the more visceral and raw. And last little thing that I want to point out, it's definitely just more of a funny thing. I think this scene is just funny. This shot in particular. Like, why is Paul so far ahead? What? It's so funny. Like, why isn't he charging with his people? Why is he so far ahead? It's like he told the Fremen, yo guys, give me a head start. Like, to make himself look cooler or something. I don't know. This shot is just funny. All in all, guys, this movie alongside Dune Part 1 are just must-watch movies, in my opinion. And yeah, even though the name of the video is Dune Part 2 was disappointing, and it was in certain aspects, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this movie isn't worth your valuable time and money. I'm incredibly excited to see where this franchise goes, and I'll be there day fucking one for the next movie. Which, I wonder what they're going to call it, because technically, Dune Part 1 and 2 are really just Dune 1. It's like the first book. And the third Dune movie, Dune Messiah, is actually Dune 2 because it's the second book. So I wonder how the studios are going to like handle that. I don't know, because calling it Dune Part 3 would technically be wrong. I don't know. All right, we'll see. Go see it, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.